Coach Joyner, year two under getting started, right? Year one, was work in progress. You guys were kind of figuring out that identity, figuring out what you needed exactly. Do you feel like coming into this off season, you kind of had that direct, clear path on what was needed this year?
Um, yes and no. I mean, with so many new players, that's what makes it more difficult is trying to understand the different relationships and partnerships, that we need on the field. But certainly a better understanding of what the level looks like, and where we were deficient last year, and where we knew we needed to get some more production. So, in the recruiting, side of the game, we knew we needed to bring in, some more attacking-minded players. And we certainly did. We brought in, I think, 14 new players for this fall. So really excited about where we're going, but certainly got great perspective after last season, and a lot more clarity in terms of moving forward and what we need.
Right. And how much do you guys hang on to last year? Kind of just chalk it up as it was growing pains. That's not truly what our identity is. This year, we'll have a more understanding of who this team truly is.
Yeah, and we actually don't talk about last year at all. We don't have a ton of returners from that roster, and so this feels very new, and there is no reason. A lot of the things that happened last season in terms of, playing style and personnel, like it's not relevant, so it doesn't necessarily make sense to talk about it. So we definitely have like a new identity. We know what we need moving forward, and we've kind of just leaned into like this unique opportunity of getting to build something really special, where there hasn't been a ton of tradition or a winning program, so to speak. And so now it's just an awesome opportunity to build something special, and with kind of a big new group that's excited.
Absolutely. You kind of have a mix of veteran players, returners, as well as the freshmen. How important is that combination of the veteran leadership kind of uplifting that freshman, because they're not knowing what they're stepping into. This is their first year,
Sure.
but the others know what to expect. How important is that combo?
It'll be more important as the season goes on. I think what's nice about having so many freshmen is they just go, they don't really know how hard it is yet. And so there's just a lot of positivity and like great energy around it, which I think is great for the older players too, that have maybe been here for, a few seasons. There's obviously Ella and Lauren have been here for this is their fourth season. And so they know where they started and where they're going. And so they've got really great perspective, but that they can offer to the freshmen, and knowing, what the trajectory looks like and how fun and exciting it is. But also having the freshmen around makes them just like, oh, I remember what that was like to be a freshman. And you just walk out to the field with like deer in headlights. This is so awesome. And they're so excited to be here. So it's really fun. It's a really great group, and I'm loving it so far.
Right. And as a coach, it's your job to prepare those freshmen and get them ready for what they're expecting. What kind of contributions are you feeling that this freshman group is going to make for this squad this year?
Pretty significant, which is really exciting. We know when we first got hired, early 2025, right? Like, you're recruiting and really trying to build this class that's, late in the recruiting game at that point for the stage of freshmen. And we are definitely we knew we were getting really solid players, but we are really pleasantly surprised, I think, in a lot of ways with how much talent there is. And also just the athleticism piece. So, we talk about this at training, but, it's like we don't even really call them freshmen in a lot of ways, because I'm like, you're either ready or you're not. So there is no excuse. It's not like, oh, well, asterisk next to your name, it was a freshman, so it's okay that this didn't work out. It's like you're either ready or not. And that was made pretty clear, like out of the gate, was there is an excuse. There isn't a gray area. You're ready to be in the Big Ten, whether you're a freshman or a senior. And I think that they've leaned into that quite a bit, and they've leveled up and kind of understood what the training requirement is. And every single day you're fighting for minutes, you're fighting for that, travel spot, and they've leveled up in a lot of ways. So it's great, watching them grow the past couple of weeks.
Right. And you mentioned keywords, ready or you're not. There's one freshman that no question is ready, is Jazelle White. She got called up. Just talk a little bit about her as a player, her skill, and just what that means to be at that level at such a young age.
Yeah, we're so excited, for her, and then also bummed because she won't be here hopefully all the way through September. She'll be with Argentina and Poland playing in the World Cup. But yeah, I think she's done a great job, in preseason, and this was kind of unexpected in some ways. So we're really proud of her, and she trained really hard to put herself in a position to make that happen. And just sets like a new precedent, that we're going to develop professional players here. We're going to develop international players that are going to compete for, different countries. So that part's really exciting. And, we've got a handful, of other freshmen that have definitely shown really, really well, but that whole group has absolutely elevated our team and our program. So I'm excited to see how this goes in preseason, because everyone's going to get their minutes. Everyone's going to continue the opportunities and chances. So, we'll see who's ready.
And getting called up, while we're on that, what kind of goes into that, right? Because this is her second time being called up. She's young as a freshman. So is there like a criteria they're looking for? What does a player have to do to have that type of opportunity?
Sure. So Jazelle is actually really unique in that, she's from the Bay Area. Her mom was born and raised in Argentina. And when she came on her recruiting visit, she mentioned, her background and history. And I was like, oh, well, that means you've got the ability to play for Argentina. And she was like, yeah, but like how, like why does that happen and how would that happen? And I was like, I'll just call them. And she was like, what do you mean you'll just call them? I was like, I will call the Argentina coach for you. And I called him. The next day he called her and invited her into camp. She flew down to Buenos Aires with her mom. They stayed with her family, and she went into preseason, absolutely crushed it. And so now she's invited back. It was as simple as that.
Simple as that?
Yeah, normally there's like different criteria, but like when you're born and raised and you're playing in that country, there's different camps and all those different things. But being an American that has the ability to play abroad is pretty special and unique. And it's nothing to do with me, but just like having a good network and connection certainly helps to help elevate my players and give them some opportunities.
And speaking of elevating the players, just talk about how you feel this team is going to take that next step this year, right? We just mentioned growing pains, things of that. Well, okay, now this time we can take the next step. How do you feel about that this upcoming year?
What I'm probably most excited about is just we have more attacking threats. We got a lot of goal scorers. That was a priority for us in the recruiting process, and just being, bringing in players that were really successful at the club level, that had played for some top teams, that knew how to score goals, knew how to win games. That certainly takes the pressure off of our defensive group that, we're returning a lot of those players, which is fantastic. And we've got a really good foundation. That's part of our, our organization. The fabric of who we are is our defensive, piece of the game. And so now we have more of an attacking threat that hopefully alleviates some of those pressures that our backline felt, in fall. So we're in a good spot. I'm excited to see what some of these special players can do. And, the way that we play, our playing style is very attacking minded in terms of like fluidity and letting special players be special and do their things and, take advantage of opportunities. So we're excited to see them shine.
All right. And just talking a little bit about Portland State, just talk about the matchup that you guys are prepared to go in this opener.
Sure. I mean, kind of a local rivalry, I guess, in some ways, the state of Oregon. Mo Whitney's a very good friend of mine. We played together on the Storm for a long time with also our other assistant, Laura Schott. So former teammate, and, so we love that. I love playing against my former teammates. It's awesome. But we're excited. I think the matchup is, I think when you're competing, for the same players also in the recruiting cycle, we're all from Oregon. We want our players from the state. It's just fun. I love it. And I think it's a good matchup for us. They play a different style than we do. So I think, it'll expose us to some different ideas and ways of shifting and organizing and how we want to attack moving forward into the Sunday game against Gonzaga.
Right. And just watching you guys at practice, I've seen you real active out here with the team. How important is that for you to be involved in not just teaching the girls, but actually showing them that you can still get it and I'm not just telling you what to do out here?
I don't know how much they love it, but no, I mean, I think it's so fun. Like, I'm going to keep playing till I can't anymore, till I got to really hang them up. So I pick and choose my moments when I know I can shine, but other than that, I think they love it. I know when they see me, like, normally I put my hair up and my headband on. They're like, oh no, she's serious now. When I got my hat on, they're like, okay, she's just going to serve balls and she won't be too involved. But they love it. I mean, I think it's fun. I love being on the field. It's my favorite part of the day. And just gets me excited, especially on a game day, like the day before, match day -1. I'm so juiced, like I can't even wait for tomorrow. So I have to get out my energy and I got to serve balls. Like I'm pretending like I'm going to prepare for the game as if I'm playing in it, which is sort of embarrassing. But anyway, we're here. I'm pumped. Yeah, they love it.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, just talking about the benefits of really being in year 2, kind of having a blank slate to work with and kind of establishing your own identity, your culture from the ground up. to outsiders, how would you define what that culture, that identity is that you want to build, and kind of piggybacking on that, just style of play that you're hoping to kind of implement and see grow throughout the season and beyond?
Yeah, I think this transition period that was, the first time this happened this year just allowed us more time to kind of discover like who we are going to be, especially with so many new players. Is I can impart, my values and the things that I think are important for us, but ultimately the more, success I think we'll have is by empowering the players to kind of show us what's important to them, what they value, giving them some autonomy in how they play and freedom so that we can, highlight and amplify the things that they're excellent at and finding the key relationships with players on the field. So that's really been just a big eval process. And then with that evaluation process, starting to give them ideas and really morph, what they're working on, where they're having success, and like, oh, that can be something that is our identity. That's actually who we're going to be at. So right now, one of our main things that we're talking about in terms of identity is being tenacious in transition. So whether we're transitioning from defense to attack or attack to defense, like we know that we can count on ourselves. We're like, we are going to be absolute killers in those moments. And then everything can build from there. So that's definitely one of our pieces that we focused on heavily, is the transitional side of the game. And then the defensive organization. I love coaching defending. I'm probably one of the only coaches in the country that loves to coach defending. But that's something that's really important in terms of learning how to win games, is being really organized. And then the attacking fluidity. Again, let special players be special. I don't like to put players in a box. I don't want to work on patterns all day. Like, where's space? Where's the defender? Where's your teammate? Where's the ball? Make decisions based off that.
Made a big addition to your coaching staff this offseason, hiring a director of operations, I believe it is, Rebel. How's Rebel been doing so far on the staff? How's she fitting in with you guys on the staff and the team? Just what's it been like for the last few months?
Rebel's getting there. Rebel started off, it was a little rocky. It was a little rocky there at practice, some barking, a lot of shin guards went missing. Some goalkeeper gloves had to be replaced, but we're getting there. No, she's awesome. She's definitely started to figure it out, and started to contribute in a much better way, more positive, but certainly has always been really fun and very cute. So we love that.